All right. Trying to keep the videos short because they upload faster, and it's just easier trying to get them onto YouTube when they're not so long-winded. A couple of my videos I think are approaching 30 minutes, and it's like you're really going to want to sit here for 30 minutes and watch me with a welder welding? Come on. I don't blame you. But anyway, so this portion of the video is about how impressed I am with this seller, who I can't remember the name, on Amazon that I bought my new clutch from. Now, if you remember the other video, I bought one of those torque converter setups with the snowmobile belt type of deal. That is a great way to get motion out of a vehicle. It's somewhat complicated. It's fiddly. You have to make sure everything's lined up right, or you will chew through a belt in a hurry. But on this particular machine, I showed that due to the close proximity of the engine to the jack shaft and the chain case, I mean, they're right next to each other, I had no room to mount that torque converter system except for straight up in the air. And if I were to mount it straight up in the air, then I would have to make all kinds of modifications to the machine to make that system work. I'd have to offset the engine a little bit so that the gears lined up. For the chain drive, I would have to take the gas tank off the top of the engine and relocate it about a ½ inch off to the right side of the engine, which would then prevent, I discovered, the hood from closing, because I made all my measurements and tolerances on this hood with the engine just set right in the dead center of the machine, and I had no way of knowing any of these other problems were going to come up. So, that being said, I opted to go with a centrifugal clutch unit. All right, so that centrifugal clutch I ordered one morning before I went to work, and it was here 2 days later. I put a note to the seller if they could please expedite, send this thing out right away, because the whole progress of the project is waiting on this clutch. And in a certain aspect it is, because I can't bolt this engine down until I get my alignment of my drive chain correct and the distance and everything like that. I can't do anything bolting the motor down permanently or anything like that until I have the clutch and it's on the shaft and I'm able to do all that. So I ordered it one morning before work. It got here in 2 days. I was like, whoa! So, big props to the seller. I don't remember who he is, but he'll get a good review. But anyway, so I ordered a centrifugal clutch. Now, if you're gonna, just a tip, if you're going to build a machine like this, and it's gonna be not a lightweight snow whip like Tim built, but it's gonna be a heavy-duty bulldog machine like mine, I just want to make a recommendation. I've used these centrifugal clutches before, making mini bike or a go-kart or something like that. They are not very beefy, all right? So they will wear out quickly. It's just like not the most ideal situation. I think the belt setup torque converter is probably the best way to go, because then all you really have to replace for the most part is the belt when the belt wears out. But this is a centrifugal clutch, okay? If you look on the back, See that? Those are your weights. So this device spins, all right? And in the inner part of here, these weights, they sling out and they engage this outer drum and they stick to it. And that's what provides your traction or your energy to your drive axle, all right? This, even though it's Comet brand, is a lightweight clutch. So this is meant for like a kid's mini bike or something like that. This is not meant for a 300-pound bulldog that's going to be digging through the snow and the slush. You'll burn this up pretty quick. So, yeah. So there's, when you're looking for these things, you can get a heavy duty or, you know, a standard clutch. So I ordered the heavy duty. I am majorly impressed, okay? First and foremost, you can see the difference in the thickness of the drum. All right, this drum is a lot more surface area, so that means more gription, all right? The weights, you can see them right around the edge here, and there's a gap, there's one here, there's one here. There's 3 big weights in here versus 3 little pucks in here. A lot heavier. The material on that outer drum. Look at the wall thickness of that one, the outer drum, this outer portion, and then look at the wall thickness of that one. This thing weighs probably 4 pounds, 5 pounds. This is solid stuff right here. So do yourself a favor and get the heavy duty version, and I think it will perform much better. Which reminds me, looking at it, I have to get some Woodruff keys too. I really got to make a list, or I'm gonna walk into that store. First thing I'm gonna do when I walk in the store is I'm gonna have to poop. I don't understand, man. I come out here and I get doing something and I gotta poop. It must be an old man thing. But anyway, so I got to get some Woodruff keys for that. But the big problem I have is this engine is a Chinese motor, right? And the crankshaft on the engine has a flange that comes out right here, okay? And I think it's to strengthen the shaft. The crankshaft itself is actually probably 1 1/8 or 1 1/4 in diameter. But that flange is preventing this clutch from sliding close enough to the engine. If I orientate this the way it's supposed to be, like that, well, you can see that's not going to work. Because my drive gear is going to be here on the jack shaft, and here's where the sprocket is on the thing. So I've got to mount this backwards, right? Like so, all right? Still doesn't line up. Chain's gonna hit right here. So what I have to do, because of this collar, so what I'm gonna have to do is sit here with a grinder and grind this collar down. I thought about taking the engine to a machine shop. I thought what they could do is they could bolt it down to an engine lathe bed and then start the engine so it's like the turning chuck on the engine lathe, and then bring a cutting tool in and nibble all that stuff away. I thought about doing that, but I think I can do it myself. Not that way. I'll do it the redneck way with a grinder, with an angle grinder. But I got to grind all that material off of that crankshaft so that clutch will slide far enough towards the engine where the sprockets will line up for the chain. So that's one of the projects that has to happen. And then, of course, when I do that, the crankshaft will be too long. It'll be sticking out the end of the clutch assembly. So I'll have to put a spacer in there so that when I tighten the bolt onto the end of the crankshaft, everything is nice and snug. But, yeah, so that's a little bit of a engineering deal that I have to issue with, thing I have to deal with. So yeah, there's still a long ways to go on this. Fortunately, I think there's still good, safe ice out there. I was at a house yesterday. Customer lives on a lake, and I was looking at the lake, and the ice looks just solid as a brick. And I know it's about 30 inches thick, so I think I still have some time. And we've been getting cold nights. We had an all-day rain this past week, and that rain soaked into the ice, but then at night it got really cold, so it froze, and it made that top layer of ice, instead of being porous, it made it hard, you know, like a rock. So the ice is looking good, so I'm gonna keep fishing. And I want to use this thing once or twice before winter's over, before I have to put it in storage. I mean, I finish it, looks really good, starts, idles, and then what? Stuff it in a storage shed till next winter? I don't think so, Tim. A lot of the fields around here still have 2 feet of snow in them. So I'll find a field somewhere with some snow, and I'll just take it out in the field and go for a rip, see what it does. There's no snow on the lakes. So, yeah, so as in the previous video, today is going to be hood day, working on the hood. If I want to take a break from that, maybe I'll grind a little bit on that crankshaft, see if I can get that collar to disappear. So yeah, lots of stuff to do, full day of work. Tomorrow, I'm going to take a break, as much as I don't want to. And who knows, I probably might not. I mean, I'm so focused on this right now. It's crazy. I'm ignoring people. I come home from work. I'm on the phone. I'm calling the wife. I'm like, turn the heat on in the shop so it's warm when I get here. So the instant I get home and I, bam, slam my cooler down, whoop, I'm out here working on this. I'm just laser focused on it. So there's a very good chance I'll wake up tomorrow morning and I'll be having coffee in the den, and I'll be like, nah, I can't waste a day fishing. I gotta go out in the shop and be fabbing. So it's going to be another weekend of just solid wrenching on this, but it's one of my blisses, so I don't care. So I'm gonna head my ass over to the home center and get some stuff that I need. I'm gonna make a list while I still remember it, and then we'll get cracking.